Be a man.
Experience! Are you with me? Be a man.
Yeah.
You ready to preach? Preacher.
Yep.
What do if somebody asks you to join their gang?
Tell them you might let them join your gang.
What do if some street thug comes up to you and says he's connected?
Connect your fist to his fucking beak.
It's not a world of men.
I want you to be a man.
You could just be a man in this one moment.
I gotta be a man.
Be a man.
It's be a man time.
Be a man. Be a man. Be a man.
Am I supposed to be a man? Be a man.
Be a man.
Be a man.
Be a man.
You can act like a man.
Be a man.
So be a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Us guys from the, formative 60s, 70s in Boston, right, growing up. What's your fond memories of gangsters? We both knew gangsters.
Well, I
right?
grew up in Day Square, and I grew up in a bar
Yeah.
down on Border Street. So, in East Boston, so I was exposed a lot between hanging out at the bar and then at Day Square. What's his name used to hang? Barboza.
Fucking Joseph Barboza Barron.
Yeah.
The animal. The animal. Hitman.
When I was 4 years old, this is a true story. My mother was a really pretty blonde when she was young. She's still stunning for her age, but when she was younger, she was back in a car, and like all those thugs were like saying, "Come on, back it in." And I guess Barboza said, "Come on, honey, come on, honey." And I said, "Don't call my mother honey. My father will beat you up."
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So he's like, okay. And so I asked my father, like years later, I was like, "Were you scared of? Yeah, I mean, did that scare you?" He said, "No, I wasn't scared of him."
Yeah.
He's a fucking asshole. I was in a bar in on Revere Beach once with his buddies. He was with some buddies. He fucking just took his gun out and started like looking at it, then put it back in.
Fucking guy was half brain dead. Let's face it. They built him up like he was a big fucking Joe. That's Joe Barboza. I go, yeah, he's a fucking moron.
But I mean, like, isn't that one of the best ways to set the tone? Is to walk in the room and fucking take a gun out and just plop it on the fucking table.
How did that end up for him?
That's a good shit.
Guy down the street fucking put a bullet in his head in San Francisco.
Well, you know what's great about that was a real fucking hit. They sent the guy from Boston, J.R. Russo. They claim that he fucking road trip, real hitman, airplane, go out there, plot the fucking hit. He stepped out of a van with a fucking carbine and mowed down Barboza right in the fucking street.
I thought it was the guy whose last name began with Z, that lives right up the street.
Oh,
I think he was the
really?
Yeah. But yeah, so
Could
he
be
was
conflicting reports.
Yeah, well, you ever see on they show like the thing about Angiolo? He's like, Angiolo has $350,000 worth of Shylock money on the streets right now.
Shylock.
And Barboza was sitting there with his fucking hat on and some sunglasses, but you could still see his fat face.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know it was him.
He was like the Boston version of Joey Gallo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a loose fucking cannon, hitman. You bump into him, he'll fucking stab you to death.
Well, he was Portuguese, so he could.
Right.
He was mad because he couldn't be a made man.
Then he became the Jew thing with the Baron. Remember, he became Joseph Barboza Baron. He married a Jewish broad.
By the way, he lived in this town too. By the way,
did he? Yeah.
At one time, I think before he went out west.
Scumbag.
So he had plastic surgery done to his face. And my father said after he got killed, he's all, you could never fucking hide his face. He's got a blubber head.
Do you know I once played fucking Barboza many years ago?
Really?
Wow.
You know, like America's Most Wanted type show. It was something like that.
Okay.
I gotta find the tape. They shot it on film. We went in a helicopter. I recreated the whole Barboza scenario.
Oh.
Including getting fucking mowed down. I must find this tape. Yeah.
Really?
It was cool.
Yeah. So he was. I mean, if he kept his mouth shut, he might have lived a little longer. I think he just had it.
They don't end up too good, these guys, do they?
Fuck him for calling my mother honey.
See? Now, of course, coming from Somerville, I was in the fucking Mecca.
Oh, God.
Right in the heyday of the Bulger days, right?
Oh, yeah.
And my father was a loose player affiliated with the fucking, what they called in-town division,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Okay, all right.
And guys,
We're connected.
We're connected.
Yeah.
Everybody said, hey, don't fuck with him. He's connected. Right? You man.
Don't fuck with him.
Yeah, he's connected. See that guy? Yeah. He's connected. Ooh.
But like back in those days, there was, like you said, there was hitmen. There was people that they did calculated hits where they found out where people were gonna be. They wore disguises. They did it like in the nape of the night. Like they had a whole fucking way about it. There was a whole system. There was a whole like code of conduct. Nowadays, gangsters, you know what I mean? Like they're shooting people in the fucking streets in front of cameras.
Fucking indiscriminately shooting. There's not even a street code anymore. At least then, there was loosely a street code. Civilians, family, not part of it, right? Now they don't give a fuck about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
How many times you meet a little kid caught in the fucking crossfire?
Oh, exactly.
No, it's terrible. I mean, hey, my thing is, all the fucking money we spend on stupid shit, this country, put it in the cities.
Right.
Fucking clean it up, give them better schools. I mean, I've been saying that since it's common sense to me, but I don't know.
You gotta lock the people up. I mean, that's why I'm fucking skilled with a knife and close fighting.
Oh, I always get away.
Are you weaponed up?
I'm always strapped. You know that.
Fucking gotta be ready, man. Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, these kids, like we said before, there was a code of conduct, and now there's just an army of loose cannons loose on the fucking street that you have no idea what's gonna fucking pop off. Where back in those days, you could almost catch a whiff and be like, "Oh, I think a fucking hit's going down. We should get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
When people aren't afraid of the fucking cops, it's over, man.
Oh,
They're beating up fucking cops. You see all this footage? Cops are getting their fucking asses kicked, getting murdered, getting set up, fucking flipped over, fucking bludgeoned.
Oh yeah.
Bludgeons. That's a great word.
So back in the old days, though, when there was a code on the street, right?
Yeah.
You could go to the fucking Godfather and say, listen, so-and-so's fucking causing a ruckus over there. Settle him down.
Yeah.
And then they would go over and talk to them, and they had fear.
Have a sit down.
Yeah.
They'd have a fucking sit down. They go, sit down.
I've been in a few of those in my life. I think I've been to 2 or 3.
Were you
in my
called
life.
in for a sit down?
Yeah.
When you walked in, did they say sit down?
No. It was actually, they were kind of friendly, so just taking care of some shit with gambling. Not me personally,
Right.
but stuff I was involved in.
I mean, looking back on it now, with all the movies we've seen, doesn't in many ways it seem like it's a fucking movie? Like this whole thing, like, you're called in here, we're going to fucking sit down and talk.
I mean, I gotta think from like the standpoint of someone that's been brought into the police station for questioning, that the sit down with connected people must be a million times more horrifying. It has to be, right?
I wasn't the part of any violent ones. It was just like fucking somebody fucked up. I helped someone out once. A couple of times it was people that put shit through me, and shit happened, and they weren't paying, and just sat, But so I sat down on that and just work it out. Everything was amicable,
Yeah, but just knowing that it could go south, and if it went south, it didn't mean that you were going to jail or something. It meant that you were going to be fucking hanging from a meat hook like fucking Frankie Carbone.
The last sit down I was at, there were no Italians there, so I wasn't scared.
It got straightened out.
Yeah. Straightened it out. All I've been involved in got straightened out. There were 2 other ones about gambling I was involved in taking and all that shit back in the day.
See? You were in the fucking thick of it, man. But I
Yeah,
remember.
it wasn't bad though.
Well, it was all around that, right?
Yeah.
So what happened is they fucking declared war on the mafia with the RICO statute, right? Ruined the fucking American Italian mafia. And then that gave rise to these fucking unruly street gangs and all this shit we're seeing now when nobody plays by the fucking rules. So you could really make a case and make a statement saying, bring back the fucking mob.
No shit. Yeah. So here's a question for
the
you.
The mob is still around. I know exactly who's running things in Boston, by the way. I'll tell you afterward. I know exactly. you know who it is. I know exactly who's calling the shots in
But it
Boston.
ain't what it used to be.
No, it's not. But we got a boss here.
So what year did the RICO Act go into play?
Like the 80s, I think, right?
That was the 80s?
Yeah.
I mean,
70s,
doesn't
80s?
that, if you think of it like on a timeline, it totally makes sense. So if in the late 80s, the RICO Act hits and all of the old school like Italians, the mob goes down, that's the perfect timing from when the Bloods and the Crips in the street gangs of the 90s rise into what is now known as being a gangster. Right?
This is true, man.
Yeah. See, when you see the gangster with an A, this is like going back to the thing about what an alpha is. I mean, my interpretation of it compared to what it really is.
Yeah,
is different.
I mean, there was street gangs that were popping off and that were out when the mob was around and stuff. But street gang members and stuff like that, they weren't really referred to as gangsters. They weren't really revered as gangsters. Where now that's if you're a drug dealer, you're a gangster.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, those street gangs, those loose confederation of street gangs, they were like the minor leagues for the big-time mafia. So listen, have them fucking morons go down and do this for us. But
sell some weed for us.
Sell some fucking
pass out
weed.
the football cards.
Right.
Shit like that.
Look at the fucking so-called Teflon Don, John Gotti. They make all these fucking shows about him. The guy was in prison half his life. He died at 51 years old.
I know.
Whatever the fuck he was, right?
He was a balls.
Or 61. I mean, right?
Was it fucking awesome?
61 years old. I think he was in jail for 30 of the 60.
Jesus.
He's the fucking Teflon Don, my balls.
Getting back to my first sit-down, I had one with a guy who ended up being a good buddy of mine. And that's over 30 years ago. He just got out a couple of years ago. He get out, he'd do the same thing, he'd go back in. And, he's out right now, but he's older than me. He's spent like probably 28 of the last 32 years in prison.
Jesus Christ.
He's itching to do a piece of work, huh?
Yeah, it's just he's a smart guy. He could fucking run IBM,
They don't want that.
Yeah,
like
he knows what he knows. And, he's a good guy. Don't buckle in prison. Stay solid. Be a man.
I know a bank robber from Charlestown, and I had vending machines for a short time, just a couple of them, and I had a halfway house as one of my stops.
All right, hold on. I have to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Because I'm not really familiar. What was the whole racket with the vending machines? Because I know there was a thing behind it.
Vending machines led to the poker machines.
Right. The mob had vending machines all sewn up, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
You weren't putting a fucking vending machine anywhere without their permission back in the day. But I'm after that, so to speak.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I wasn't really part of that. I just had a couple. But anyway, one was a 12-step house where 20 guys lived full time. So this guy, he was a bank robber from Charlestown. He's I fucking love it. Like your friend you were just talking about, right? He's telling me how great it is, how much he loves to do it. There's nothing like it. I said, how'd you do at it? Yeah, he goes, I've been in jail for the last 30 years. I go, what the fuck? And he wanted me to rob a bank with him.
Wear a 3-piece suit to the gym. Be a man.
Back in the day, there was a difference between a gangsta and a drug dealer. You know what I mean? Like a drug dealer was but then you'd have the gangsters where drugs were going through them and they were getting a piece.
They had to get kick up.
Oh yeah,
They got their beaks wet. Everybody wanted their fucking beaks wet. But just like in the movies, no drugs. And you found out half of them were lying and fucking doing drugs anyway. You know what I mean?
So how did that work? Was that there was almost kind of like a boss, and there would be drug dealers that would report and give the money to him, and they'd have to go through him to be able to.
Not to the boss, to one of the boss's bagmen.
To a bagman. Okay.
Fucking bagman. I mean, it was a beautiful system. They claimed ownership of the territory, right? So when I lift on a finger, they go, the guy wants to sell weed? Sell it. Give me the money. Give me half the fucking money. They just give you permission, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it was.
Got to pay so much a week or so much supposedly of what you sold. Although you had no way to track it. You had to trust them. So it was easy just to name a price.
As long as your beak was appropriately fucking moistened.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, say if there was a drug dealer that was dealing outside of his turf, or he wasn't sanctioned or whatever, was he getting shot and killed in the middle of the fucking street like it is now?
At the very least, get spoken to.
There'd be a sit down.
Yeah.
Okay, there'd be a sit down, and then if the action commenced, if he kept doing it, then he would be fucking taken care of hit style, but it would never be in broad daylight in front of fucking people, right?
Fucking repercussions.
That's why I'm kind of asking questions about it, because you look at the way shit goes down now, and it doesn't make any sense.
I think
you know when you tell me like how there's like used to be the different pecking orders and there was like a code of conduct and stuff like that. That all makes sense. People dressing up in owning a business as a front, stuff like that. That all makes sense. But the way that kids are doing it now, it doesn't make any fucking sense. To
No
me.
fucking
you know,
parameters.
too many guns. Too many punks should probably be in jail or
No
on the streets,
fear.
right?
Well, look,
Too much at stake, money wise. Too
look
probably.
at Gotti. He went in at the height of his power into jail. Then the word was he was getting beat up in jail by the other gangsters in there. There was another group of gangsters in there, and the big tough fucking boss of bosses of the Gambino family was getting fucking beat up in the can. You see what I mean? Because he didn't have his muscle and his guys around.
Yeah.
And then you're only as good as your fucking henchman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was getting beat up by a guy named Top Choice from fucking the Bronx.
There was a lot of Shylocks too, which is a loan shark.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
they lend you $1,000 and they charge you like 3 points
Yeah,
a
you
week.
never paid up.
Yeah. It's just fucking. They get your balls for life. A lot of these
Yeah, you
fucking
borrow
guys.
$1,000, you owe $50,000.
Yeah, because you fucking end up borrowing more and more. You know, they juice you like fucking 3 points a week.
I told you
or
my
whatever.
old man did that, right?
Yeah.
Fucking guys used to come to the door with rolled up fucking 20s. You know, like roll a fucking 20 into the smallest little square possible. It was a fucking art to it. They'd go, yeah, give this to your father. Dad, this is from Zeke. Give this to your father. Fat Tony, Dad. Give this to your father. Regular Tony. I mean, I swear to God.
Fit Tony.
That's how it was,
Yeah.
though. Everybody was
like-
getting their fucking beak wet.
When I lived in East Boston, we had a 3-family, and my uncle lived upstairs, and there was a guy that used to limp. His name was Charlie. He'd yell from we were on the second floor. Right when he opened the door on the first floor, Libby. He'd scream all the way up instead of just walking up and knocking on the door. I don't know. So I guess he was like a bagman, you know?
Right, yeah.
But yeah, my uncle used to, he booked down there, and he was a Shylock too. And,
Fucking booking, man. They broke, like, look at book. My old man, he booked too.
yeah.
Small little business, respectable.
Yeah.
Right? Then the fucking state moves in. But you see the fucking government, what they do, right? Looking back, okay? Guy fucking booking a few numbers, making a few bucks, right?
Yeah.
He was a fucking criminal. Our friends was sold weed and went to jail. He was a fucking criminal. Fast forward to nowadays. Look what's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sports
Get the
sports
fuck
betting
outta
is
here.
legal now, which is crazy to me. Like,
But of course, Massachusetts is dragging their feet, so they're going to miss football season.
yeah,
And you can't bet on a Massachusetts school.
all of our drugs, all of our lottery, like
Right.
all of our betting, and, like all of our bad habits are now being fucking controlled by the
And
government.
they go like this on the fucking lottery. But just gamble responsibly.
Yeah, and the
Okay,
little
thank
disclaimer
you.
on the bottom.
Oh, that's
if you
nice.
have a gambling
Thank
problem,
you so
can-
much.
You need a magnifying glass to see it. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-FUCK you.
Or they flash that screen. Like if you're playing Keno at a convenience store,
Yeah, right.
you're one of the biggest losers on the face of the planet. I mean,
That's
like,
true.
I mean, it's different. If you're in a bar, maybe you're getting a bite to eat, play a couple of games of Keno. If you're playing in a convenience
Yeah,
store,
when there's like 2 tables only.
oh yeah,
And you're in it. You're
there's
in one
two
of them.
tables. You're sitting there drinking shitty coffee, and you're just looking, and then they flash it on the screen, and it says, "If you have a gambling problem,
Right.
call this number." And it's like, I'm way past that.
Sad. It's a sad state of affairs, man. That's why bring back the fucking mob as we knew it. Let's
I know.
turn back the hands of time. Things were better.
I fucking like where you're going.
And fucking as far as the mob goes, in its purest form, even though it got all fucked up with the greed, everybody goes nuts, right? But they thought they were in the army. You know how soldiers are ordered by the government to kill?
Capo regime.
They fucking felt that they were in the army. They were an alternative to society, and they dealt with each other. You were in the game. It was okay to kill each other because you all agreed to play the game.
Oh yeah.
And I get it.
Like we keep saying it, like there was a code of loyalty, and what's the number one code of loyalty if you're dealing in fucking dirty shit and you're working with other people and stuff?
You can't whack a made man without sanction.
Yep. And but what's the
Right?
number one
That's
rule,
what they
right?
say.
Like
Even though fucking Gotti
My-
did.
Yeah. You
they-
never,
there was no ratting. There was no ratting,
and,
or else
they all, they end up getting these guys in prison, and they put the pressure on them. A lot of them end up folding.
but they would end up dead, and that's the total difference. Have you heard about this rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine? Have you heard about that guy?
I got all his fucking records, of course.
So this guy was facing like 75 years, and he openly ratted as somebody that was a gangster rapper and talked about how hard he was and shit. He did time served that was like 16 months. He was facing 75 years, and he floated all of his fucking boys out fucking down the river and shit. And these are all hard fucking bloods. These are like hard fucking like gangster motherfuckers, and he's still not dead.
Oh,
I can't believe that
amazing.
he's out there doing concerts and shit.
no, there's no hurry.
You never know. They could get him. They're waiting. They're waiting.
I mean, like going back to like Henry Hill and all those guys. Remember, right? You know, he was he in prison? He was undercover for a while.
Yes, it's right.
Yeah.
They all go bad. That's the thing. It's an unachievable fucking thing to not really think.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna go, fuck this. So let me get this straight. If I tell, I don't have to go to jail for 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to know? Sit down. Get a fucking pencil.
Send him to Arizona somewhere.
And I'm sure it's just like anything else that fucking, like, once you're sitting there and you have the fucking hot lights on you and you're like, I'm facing 75 fucking years, it's like, fuck it.
They're like, you're not going to see your kid.
Right.
Your wife's going to be out banging the mailman, and, you know, when you're in prison and all this. Put all kinds of shit in your mind.
Do the honorable thing. Go to jail for me for 20 years while I'm having a good fucking time on the outside. Fuck you. What do you want to know?
Well, my house got raided like 30 years ago, and I got subpoenaed in for what they found in there.
Subpoenaed.
Yeah. So, you know, I talked to my lawyers, like, you know, you better talk to your guys and make sure what you say is okay. So, which I said, yeah, I will. If I keep my mouth shut, I have to go away for 18 months for contempt
I
of
could do a
court.
stint on my head.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Did you tell him?
Which I would. But I went and I talked to the guys. They listen, tell them, answer everything truthfully. Whatever you know, whatever questions they ask you, they know 90% of the answers to anyways.
Yeah.
So just answer it correctly. There's nothing you can say that's gonna make it any worse for us. So
That's true,
so
because they never fucking ask a question they don't know the answer for.
I'll tell you, these fucking
Be wary of that trick.
It's the fucking manipulation. How many documentaries are on fucking Netflix right now that are about that very thing? About people that just got shook while they were getting investigated, and they're like, oh, yeah, I did it. They think they did it.
Yeah, everyone thinks everyone's a rat.
That's a weird phenomenon, huh?
Isn't
Everyone
it?
thinks, yeah.
Say, I really didn't do it, but I strangely confessed to stabbing 20 people. I don't know why, but I just really, I didn't do it, though. What's that all about?
Yeah, it's got to be like that old school police intimidation. You're under the fucking hot lights, you're getting fucking grinded, and you're like, I just want this to end.
Where were you on the night of the 5th?
these federal, like the assistant DAs were fucking flunkies. I was like, these guys are fucking idiots. They're fucking,
But
they're fucking
now,
dopes.
in New York, you watch the fucking news like me, but the bail reform, they don't give a fuck. There's literally fucking people that have killed people released without fucking bail, okay? This is what it's come to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jesus Christ.
It's a shit show over there. Never be a rat. Be a man. I got called in because of fucking the rat bastard from Salty who ends up getting murdered a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I was down in his organization doing stuff for them, and he ended up ratting out his own organization. So my house got raided and everything because he ratted out his own organization.
Fucking
Wow.
rat bastard.
Fucking stupid.
Look at fucking Sammy the Bull, right?
Yeah, no shit.
So he gets relocated to fucking Arizona, right? Free man. He killed 19 people. He's fucking free as a bird. But no, he needs to sell ecstasy.
Oh, yeah.
And he ends up running the biggest fucking ecstasy ring in the fucking state. He gets 20 years.
Where was he at? Was he out in?
He went to
West?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now he gets out of that, and he's a podcast king. You see him?
He's unbelievable.
He's fucking good, too.
He is unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's homely as fuck now, but he's
His
charismatic.
daughter was on that show, then Mob Rats, right?
I mean, you know how, like, a lot of times, like, you can, like, watch stuff like that, and they're taking these long pauses, and their stories are so drawn out, and you're like, I don't think I can listen to it. With him, when you actually watch the thing, you can, like, there's something about the way that he like presents his stories and shit. He's fucking brilliant. Like
He's a good storyteller.
great storyteller.
La Cosa Nostra. You gotta admit, La Cosa Nostra is a good name. La Cosa Nostra.
the best.
Ah, yeah.
Alla famiglia La Cosa Nostra.
But like that's the difference is okay. So say that the fucking RICO Act came in and it took down organized crime. So now you're at the point where you're at now, where the streets are just filled with fucking nomads. There is no more organization.
No.
I mean, there's no fucking like underbosses. Maybe you have a fucking a main guy and a bad guy or something like that. But like all the levels have been knocked down, and there's just so many people that are doing it that are like independent.
That's true.
Like, they're not scared of anything because there's no like big
then there's-
organizations.
And you get one organization that wants to take over other ones. And that's when the shit starts.
There's
Like
no-
one ethnicity will,
Absolutely.
Try to take over.
No apex predator like the fucking Italian mob used
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah, they were.
They fucking there was some discord on the streets. They go fucking put it down. Cops not involved.
I
Now
mean,
there's no cops. There's no nothing.
I mean, the mob had shit locked down across the entire fucking country.
Right.
And when you look at shit now, it's like if you go to Chicago, it's Latin Kings. If you go to this
It's
place,
fucking gone.
it's all different ethnicities.
Latin kings are everywhere, right?
Oh yeah, of course they are. But like that's where they originated. Well, they originated.
I don't
in
mind
LA,
them
right?
because Spanish and Italian are similar.
Sure. They like the fucking cha
I was in
cha
that
cha.
the thing about talking about RICO, right? When
Rico Petroselli?
Yeah, when I that's something like that's kind of racist, right? Having a name Rico, right? When you think about it, because it's
You're
an Italian name.
Right.
But I was in there and they got the on the door it said RICO, the racketeering investigative committee of
Suck
fucking
my ball
organized
committee.
crime, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? So I go in there and I pled the fifth 2 or 3 times and then finally couldn't drag it out longer. So I talked to the guys and they said, just say what you know. So they had me go in and fucking explain what makeup was when you gamble. So they had a fucking a board, and I was explaining to the guy how makeup worked when you gamble. If you were an agent like me, when you take an action, how that worked and how much you make and all that shit. I had explained that to the grand jury, and they're all sitting there asking me questions and shit. Like fucking Joe Citizen is asking, some brothers of fucking works at McDonald's is asking me questions. Some
probably
guy
got-
who's a bank is asking me questions. They're all. It was
I
stupid.
bet you those bras got fucking moistened up. listening to you on the fucking stand.
Well, this
saying all
is-
that shit. They go, look at this guy. My
30 years
God.
ago, yeah, I had a nice suit on 30 years ago. I was,
He's a bad boy. I want to run with that dude.
sonographer just sitting there all quiet, just waiting to fucking have an orgasm.
Yeah, like those fucking guys in the movies. They pick up the fucking woman prison guard and they fucking escape together.
Yeah. Oh God.
Remember that
That's going to work out. Remember that big tall guy?
Yeah, she was fucking gross. They both died, right? They
You
killed
knew
themselves.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, he lives.
Oh, she killed herself or
I
something?
think he killed her.
Or killed her or something. Yeah.
As soon as that happened, you go, I think I know how this is going to end up.
Who's that, in Tennessee or something?
Yeah, some fucking hillbilly place.
Man, I don't know what I'd do if I had the power of that kind of cock where I could fucking just bang a cop and she'd be like, I'm breaking you out tonight.
Bring a car and change your clothes. You know what the beautiful thing was? The fucking guy was literally 6'8" and tattooed head to toe. One of the things when they try to get away with, she was wheeling him in a fucking wheelchair so he wouldn't look so tall.
A lot of our friends in blue are big Me and Man fans, by the way.
Yeah, they are. Some of the cops I know personally, I like. The ones I don't know, some of them can use a little fucking refreshing.
Oh yeah.
Up where I live in New Hampshire, I feel there's a bias
Well, you get
against me.
so like a cop up there is like a fucking security guard at CVS in Boston.
Am
Am I, right?
You know what their biggest
Transit
fucking action
police.
is up there? You know what their fucking daily fucking thing is? To bring me down.
I moved to the town that I was in. Everybody thought I was in the mob.
Fucking my blue heaven. Fucking-
But that's what people used to think, though. It's gotten a little better, but you say that. If you're Italian and you look and act a certain way, these fucking yuppies, these Karens, go like, guys in the mob.
They just
Yeah,
want to go down on your knob.
But
And
like back in your days, would you dress like in a double-breasted suit and like wear the shoes and walk around
sweatpants.
like you were a gangster
No,
when you weren't?
Sweatpants.
Nah. I mean, if I was going discoing and fucking doing coke back in the day, I may wear a nice fucking open blouse with several chains.
I dress like
right?
I dress like the fucking guys in Sopranos with sweatpants all the time, right?
Yeah.
Just fucking.
But now it's like it's confusing because of like the gangsta generation, and everybody's like dressing the same. There's a certain hood look that like people from fucking Wisconsin will wear, that like random people like so they get labeled as gangsters, but they're just posers. They're
the
wannabes.
people in Wisconsin, they wear like a fucking pitchfork.
Yeah, they sit on it.
Yeah, it's a fight. Yeah, look at the fucking smash and grabs you see every fucking night in the news.
Oh, yeah.
Now, say you're a fucking couple of fucking guys like us. We're trying to plan a fucking heist. We plan it out like assholes. They start to steal what? Fucking say $10,000, whatever. You see fucking hooded men going into high-end jewelry stores in Rodeo Drive in New York. Sledgehammers, bing, bang, boom, smash. They got out last night $2 million in diamonds.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
They bashed the fucking glass in. Boom, boom, boom,
In
boom,
New
boom,
York?
out. Yeah.
Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, Fifth Avenue, yeah. Yeah, two nights ago.
Wow.
So they just kind of fucking drive around and they have all the tools in the car and they're like, fuck it, this place
yeah.
looks good.
How do
and
you
then
police?
they just go
They're
in.
organized. They know where they're going.
I mean, you go to New York, right? How do you fucking police New York?
You can't.
And we know a couple of cops from New York.
It's never
Friends
worked,
of the
be a
show.
man. It's never worked. They've tried forever.
Well,
but
Giuliani cleaned it up a lot.
He did.
But just to police that city, man, that's fucking.
Well, now they've decriminalized shit. The bail reform.
Yeah.
6 people have been pushed in front of subway trains. My biggest fear. I won't go on the fucking subway. You go on the subway in New York, you got to be out of your fucking mind.
oh, yeah.
There's literally people like a fucking like a nightmare. They'll push you in front of a
No,
fucking oncoming train. No way. That ain't gonna be the way I go. I'm sorry. That's why you're gonna see fucking Subway Vigilante again. It's gonna start happening, man. It has to.
When you take down organized crime, you're opening up the free market.
That's true.
And now there's just so many more nomads, so many more just gangs of thieves, just fucking groups of people that are going out and do fucking crazy shit. When before there was a rites of passage, like you said, it's like you had to pay the vig. You had to fucking, pay down to somebody else that was bigger than you.
The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know.
Exactly.
Or some
Yeah.
bullshit like that, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it true, though?
Yeah.
It is.
Fucking renegades running around.
In the 90s when there was the whole gangsta thing, I didn't identify with like a lot of the shit, but I was like, oh, I kind of get it. I loved the fucking music. I thought the music was the best, and it fucking made me feel like a hot ass even though I was a fucking pussy.
They still don't know who assassinated Tupac, right?
No.
And Biggie.
Nope.
Yeah.
Fucking
unsolved-
Tupac.
Unsolved
Isn't it
murders.
Pac?
That's because it's fucking that's like deep, like old school LA
Versus
in New York,
right?
like
East
Crips and
Coast,
Bloods.
West Coast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They brought back the drive-by. I mean, they used to do it in the 20s in the Capone with the Tommy guns and all that
yeah.
shit. Then you didn't see a lot of drive-bys for a couple of decades. Then they came back with a fucking vengeance. They're still going on
40
now.
years later, they brought it back.
And they're still happening.
And it's always like, especially in the 90s, I mean, it was always like, it always seemed like it was the nicest car. It was like a fucking 67 Impala that fucking was lowered. The thing fucking had crazy Dayton rims. And you look and you see the car and you're like, damn, that's a nice car. Gets shot in the fucking temple.
The only drive-bys I'm associated with now is fucking people driving by, be a man. That's right. Only drive a huge Cadillac. Be a man.
Bring back the mob. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Bring back, hey, fucking Howie Winters, God rest his soul, the Winter Hill Gang.
You got a story?
Yeah, when he smashed the fucking, we were fucking high schoolers. Howie walked around with that fucking scally cap. Everybody loved him, so I can say this. All us Somervillians, he may have been a gangster, whatever, but he was a real fucking stand-up gangster. He never ratted on anybody. Did several stints in jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves him. A lot of my good friends fucking adored him, right? But there he was with his fucking scally cap that he made famous. With the fucking shades, kind of fucking built. We're all sitting there after school one day. Some fucking Cadillac in the middle of Broadway, Somerville. He bashed the fucking windshield in, bashed the back windshield in, screaming, "You don't come to my fucking town." We're all gathered. I go, "Oh my God, did you fucking see that?" It was unbelievable. He tossed the fucking bat down and fucking sauntered off.
Was it parked or was it driving by?
No, the guy was double parked right on the fucking road. Pulled over, but it was ready to go. The guy drove away after. "You don't come to my fucking town," he said. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
That shitbag I don't think came back. But who knows, though? There was so much double dealing going on. That's the problem.
Well, that's where Whitey Bulger came from.
And the FBI.
Yeah.
But fucking, so you didn't know who the fuck was with who at this point.
Right.
Sad. It's not like the fucking Roman Empire.
If you're a real gangster, wear your pants down to your ankles. Be a man.
I saw this thing last night. They showed the footage from the courtroom. The defendant before the judge, fucking murder raps going, "You so hot, judge." They're trying to pick up the fucking judge. You're facing fucking time in jail. They don't care.
You want to blow one last load.
Well, that's because, that was a huge thing that wasn't around back in the old school gangster days. Is now there's social media and there's gangsters that are using social media to separate themselves from all the posers and the wannabes. They're taking videos of them with fucking guns and drugs on Facebook because they want to prove I'm really doing it while everybody else is talking about it.
That's stupid because, the cops and law enforcement looks at that stuff.
Yeah, they do, and that's why all these people are fucking going down. That's stupid.
Like I said, use your brains, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
That's why Be a Man should rule the fucking streets for 1,000-year fucking reign.
Rule with an iron fist.
With an iron fucking fist.
Firm but fair.
Like fucking Khrushchev.
Name your oldest son Al in honor of Al Capone. Be a man.
Say if you had a rumble, you had the gangsters of the 60s and 70s on one side, and then you had the gangsters of the 90s going against each other in a fucking some sort of war, some sort of Braveheart situation. Who do you think would win? And why?
They would win because they bring all the machine guns and shit.
Oh yeah, Tech 9s.
Yeah, the new ones, you mean?
Yeah, the new ones.
Yeah, they got AKs and shit. Yeah, that's tough. You want to give it to the old timers, but you have to be realistic. But it's almost like looking at an athlete from those days. They were the best in their time.
Gladiators.
Right?
Yeah.
They didn't have the weaponry, but those guys were closer to World War II guys. So maybe they had some fucking army skills if some of them were in the
Tactical
army.
advantage, and they could aim. They weren't holding the gun sideways.
And if maybe not being whacked out on fucking drugs would help in warfare. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe if you're a kamikaze, it's good to be on fucking crack.
It sharpens your senses.
I don't know. It could be a good battle, though. I'd like to see. That'd be a good video game.
Yeah.
They must have
it
that,
would,
right?
yeah.
I like this. You should make a fucking movie out of this.
Here we go.
Be a man.
Be a man. If it's a day of Donna's wedding and I ask you to come, will you come? Will you drop everything?
Of course.
Thank you, Godfather. If your 19-year-old kid was dying of terminal fucking cancer and he had 2 hours to live, and you were at his bedside and we called you, you must come. Will you come? For real?
Yeah, right.
Yes. Do you put this thing of ours first if your mother fell down a flight of fucking steps with her neck twisted and she asked for help and stuck out her hand? You'd come to us first? Yes. How fucked up was that?
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the
Be a man.
experience.